Hello YouTube and welcome to What the Math. In today's video we're going to be continuing our grand tour of Kerbal Space System and take off from Eve and try to reattach ourselves to our main spaceship lander thingamajig. Now someone was asking me, hey look, you have no ladders here, how are you gonna get back? Actually what I forgot to show you in the last video is that I do have one set of ladders on one of these supports. One of them I know has it. Where is it? So this is actually going to be quite interesting because the way I designed the spaceship is to be as lightweight as possible. So I had to limit myself even with a number of ladders. And when I'm actually going to get to the top of this part, where are the ladders? Oh, there they are. There they are. There's my beauty. When I'm going to get to the top of the spaceship, I'll actually have to do a little bit of a platformer experience where I have to jump across the spaceship all the way to the center. So I've done this before and I actually failed a few times where I actually come back crashing down to the ground and we'll have to start over. So it's actually quite an interesting and fun mini game that I've created for myself without even trying, where I have to basically jump across these engines one after another in order for me to get to the center of the spaceship. So let's get to the top here. And if you are actually making something similar and you want to put these ladders on your spaceship, don't forget that these also need to have electricity. So if you don't put solar panels, which I actually did once, I forgot to put solar panels, you will actually end up stuck on Eve because you won't be able to extend them manually unless they have electricity from somewhere. So I have a solar panel right there that's creating this electricity. And also you can see that this ladder here is actually angled, and that's because of this. If you don't angle it, you'll come back crashing down, and for me to get to this part, I need to have this kind of angle like that. Alright, so here comes the platformer. I actually just realized these are not perfectly well aligned. Oh no, bad engineer on my part. Maybe I did this on purpose actually. Alright, so I'm gonna run toward these and smack into them just like that. This is going to be an interesting platformer. I should have some kind of a platform music played, maybe even from Super Mario. Oh wait, no, I can't use Super Mario because apparently Nintendo doesn't. Oh no, that's not good. Nintendo doesn't allow us to use their stuff on YouTube anymore. Well, that's gonna take me a while. And when I say Nintendo doesn't allow you to use YouTube stuff, I mean they actually take all the money if you use their content. They get to keep all the money from anything that you make from your videos, which is really unfair. I think it's the only company that actually does that, from the big ones at least. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so we made it to this part. Yay! Now here's what I did instead of putting the ladders on this part, because that would give me extra weight, which I didn't want. I instead made these legs slanted, just like this, so that I can actually do just that. I can get on top of it and then crawl to the top and position myself very carefully without falling down and board the ship. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. So all this struggle just to get into the spaceship, which is like nothing that NASA ever did. But the interesting part is that I only did that just to save myself from putting too much mass on this particular spaceship. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off from Eve, and currently we're at 1134 meters above the surface, which gives us a little bit more or a little bit less fuel that we need to waste. And then we're going to try to connect to this flying fortress right here. Grand Tour Final Probe. I should have named it better actually. As you can see, there's actually a slight disalignment of planes. This one is here, this is my spaceship, and this is my orbiting station. So this will probably take a few experimental tries on my part. Or actually, you know what, since I was able to land on the first try, I'm gonna try to take off on the first try as well. The only problem here is that I'm not actually aiming for east. Normally when you're taking off Kerbin, you aim east. Here, it's a little bit misaligned, so I need to figure out this angle. I may have to use a protractor, which I have here lying somewhere. Which I may need to measure the actual angle that I'm going to be aiming for, because if I go back here and oh yeah, I need to switch to this part, control from here. There we go. So, alright, so here we go. Oh, actually it does it automatically. That's perfect. Look at that. So it's going to be, I think it's 315 degrees that I'm going to be aiming for. Not 90 like usual. Usually you would be aiming here, I think. Alright, let's try this. Let's try this and then see how it goes. Okay, so here goes nothing. This is the launch time. I had to change some of the staging here because I actually have quite a lot of stages and I had to make sure that they all in order. So basically what's going to happen now, I'm going to lose these supports, and as soon as I do that, these engines will essentially launch and propel ourselves toward the sky. And if all goes well, we're going to be turning in the correct direction toward the spaceship that's orbiting around Eve. So let's see if this all goes to plan. And that's parachutes. That's not the right stage. Okay, one more time. There we go. Okay. So now the explosion you heard, that's the stages following behind. Now what's going to happen now is we're going to take off, making sure that we follow a very specific ascent plan. So here what you want to do is you want to look at atmospheric efficiency. If you are using Flight Engineer like myself, and this is the first stage that we just lost, we want to make sure that our atmospheric efficiency is as close to 100% as possible. Now here, it's not as close to 100 because I don't really have enough power in this spaceship. If your spaceship is more powerful than mine, you may be able to achieve this a lot sooner, but I will eventually be able to get this to 100. Currently, it's a little bit less. So I'm losing tanks here because I need to basically separate them as soon as they're empty, just to be as efficient as possible, because there's so many stages here. Someone else was asking me if this is an onion stage. It's not. It's actually a very complex broccoli stage, because for Eve you always want to use asparagus is what I'm talking about. Asparagus model engines are the most efficient. If you are using onion staging, which was basically the difference between asparagus and onion is that with onion staging you're releasing the whole layer of engines at the same time. With asparagus you're releasing one at a time, or I guess pairs of engines. And releasing pairs is a lot more efficient than releasing the whole layer, because you just you use fuel more efficiently. Now, as you can see, I'm not particularly well aligned right now, but that's because I currently have no control over this part. This part doesn't have much control until the last few moments, so that's not actually good. And we're still only at 4 kilometers, and we've already lost so many engines. Look at that. But I have a good feeling about this. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. This is why you need to bring so much Delta V, so many tanks to this planet, because it's so thick, on the bottom especially, that your speed here is, this is basically 50 meters per second. And I think the highest velocity you can reach in this particular region of Eve is maybe about 80 meters per second before it starts being very inefficient. And yeah, atmospheric pressure is really, really high. It's even at this altitude, it's it's over 2 times higher than on Earth or on Kerbin. Atmospheric drag is very high as well. So let's see how this goes now. For Eve, unlike Kerbin, when you're doing your gravity turn, when you're turning toward the lateral direction to increase your lateral speed, that you should not be doing it too early, because the atmosphere is so thick you can actually get to a pretty high altitude before you have to initiate the gravity turn. So I think I'm going to be waiting until, oh, look at that, I finally reached the clouds. I can see the sky. Yay, beautiful sky. So yeah, you want to do your gravity turn above 30 kilometers. You hear different people say different things, like 17 kilometers is the one that I heard a lot. Some people do 20 kilometers, but from personal experience and from just doing a little bit of math behind it, really 30 to 35 kilometers, or even if your spaceship is not particularly powerful, maybe even 37 kilometers is where you want to initiate the gravity turn. But then you do it a little bit more sharply. You do it really, really sharp compared to what you would do in Kerbin, and essentially this is how you can successfully reach the space from Eve. Oh, this is so beautiful. I got distracted for a second because of the beauty here. Let's just observe this for a second. Just watch. the sunrise, and the serenity of space above Eve. I can actually possibly even remove this for now, just for a second. I kind of remember the numbers here, so I don't have to watch them too closely. It's a very gorgeous planet. Ooh, okay, explosion. That's not good. But that's because I actually put very powerful the release decouplers right here. So nothing to worry about. It's not an actual explosion. It's just a decoupler. But yeah, this is one of the more beautiful planets to land and escape from. Such a serene planet. So much gorgeousness here, if that's a word. But because I'm playing with the atmospheric mod, okay, that's scaring me. Because of the atmospheric mod, I actually have this really thick, thick atmosphere, thick cloud layer that prevents me from seeing the bottom. You can kind of see the mountains right there, but not the bottom of the planet. Alright, let's just get to the part where things get a little bit more interesting and then start from there. Alright, so I've initiated my gravity turn right now, and what I need to do is aim for approximately heading of 80 degrees, which is really important for this particular mission because my other orbital station is a little bit off. It's not at 90 degrees, it's about 79 to 80 degrees. Now it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be way better than going to 90 degrees and then trying to correct our planes. It's actually a waste of fuel. This would be a lot more efficient. So I'm going to wait for it to get to a little bit lower than 85. And essentially now we're aiming for orbital altitude of approximately 110 kilometers above Eve. So I'm going to circularize our orbit at around that particular altitude, and then hopefully reconnect to my station. Hopefully all goes fine. Let's just have a big smile on our face, Kerbal style, and aim for the best. All right, last stage. This is my beautiful stage that has just over 3600 delta V, and this is what's going to take us back to our space station. Let's look at our path here. Okay, a little bit off. It's just a little bit off. Need to realign in just a little bit more. Possibly go a little bit more to the left. So I'm looking at the heading right here, and it has to be about 80. I'm aiming for 80-ish. Plus minus ish. But more lateral velocity is what I really need right now. Need to go sideways a little bit faster. Look at how beautiful it is, even though it's so ugly. But just beautiful in terms of design. Alright, so here we go. This is getting a little bit better. Go a little bit more up. Need to double check my TWR. Okay, it's perfect. It's over 2. This has to be a little bit higher. And we're getting to that point where I'm about to reach orbit at 81 degree heading. 82, 81-ish. Alright, oh, that's too high. Way too high. But look at that, it's almost aligned. It's almost aligned. I'll just have to change it just a little bit to try to realign myself with the orbit of the probe right here. But I did overshoot a little bit. My apoapsis will be 127. So that's not good. May have to actually see if I can slow down a little bit before then. But that's good. So as I'm about to circularize my orbit here, you'll see what's going to happen. This is too much. Still too much. Hey, too much again. So 127. 127. All right. So it's just above the station. So what's going to happen now is we're going to circularize this, and I just need 363 more delta V to make this circle. I'll have to burn for 10 seconds in about 2 minutes, and I have 1600 delta V left. So that was actually plenty more than I needed. And so I do have enough delta V to realign our planes and then reconnect myself with that station. And this is why this guy is currently, if you look at his face, his beautiful, beautiful face, he's so content and so happy about this whole situation. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you with the actual recircularization of the orbits. I'm going to skip this part and just show you the part where I'm about to change my inclination and also approach the station. Alright, circularization complete. We're in a perfectly circular orbit, close to perfect at least. And our orbital planes are a little bit misaligned. So what I'm gonna do now is select this. No, not this. Not this at all. Select this as my target and realign the planes with the spaceship by using the I'm gonna go to ascend node, which is right here, which is the next node that we're gonna reach, and create a maneuver here. So let's add the maneuver and move it to the ascend node, and now play around with the where is it? I can't see my orbits. There we go. Play around with these two until my orbits realign. So let's see how much delta V I'll need to realign them perfectly. Just like this. Alright, perfect. This is perfect. I'll only need 240 delta V, which means that we'll have over 1,000 delta V left to essentially dock with the station. This is way more than I need. So that was a really well planned landing, and also takeoff or escape from Eve. And this is my last mini burn just to realign our orbits. I'm gonna do it just perfectly, and here we go. Perfect, excellent. So, all right, 1,065 delta V left. Our orbits seem quite aligned. Now the only problem here is that I'm slightly above the station. It is orbiting at 100. No, actually, wait. It has 129. I have 227. Now I don't know how long it's going to take me to catch up, but it's going to be a really long wait. This is why I wanted to have an orbit of 110, because I would have caught up with it a lot quicker. So what I need to do now is wait for a really long time for this spaceship to catch up with this one. Even though I have so much fuel left, there's nothing I can do right now but just wait until we catch up together. And so I'm going to do some math here just to see how long it's going to take, how many orbits it's going to take me. So target position, intersect. 702 kilometers on the first intersect, 733 on the second. So let's see how fast we can accelerate time here. This is just gonna take a while. This is mostly waiting, but we are essentially almost there. We're almost home. We're gonna be able to reconnect, still have some fuel left. So this was a perfectly well executed takeoff. And 733 was the original one. Now we have what? After one orbit, the intersect is 748. Oh no, it's increasing. That's not good. Alright, so it looks like I'm gonna have to do something more extreme. I seem to be flying away from this, which means I have to do this. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna decrease my periapsis just a little bit. This is a crazy maneuver, but let's do it. Decrease it just a little bit to like, what is it, 100. Let's make it 100. Where's my periapsis? I can't even see it. Where's my periapsis? Hello? Is that it? No. Oh, here it is. 108, maybe a little bit less. 103, perfect. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to catch up with my station. This will allow me to do just that. Keep disengaging my RCS all the time. Okay, perfect. So let's burn this direction for 23 meters per second. I have enough delta V to do everything and more. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, now let's see what happens. This will allow me, definitely allow me to catch up with the station. Because now what I just did, this is like a racing track phenomenon. I'm basically going inside the track and cutting corners here. But because I'm below 120 kilometers, I cannot actually use time warp as effectively. So that will just take a while. But you'll see that on the next pass, this should decrease from... Oh, here we go. It's already 675. Yay, we're closing in really fast. So now this is where math comes in. I have to calculate how many orbits this is going to be. 596. So maybe approximately 6 more orbits. 6? But we are getting closer. So this is 596 right now. After one orbit, it's going to become... Wait for it. Wait for it. And 516. That is 80 kilometers per orbit. So we catch up by 80 kilometers per orbit. There is 500 kilometers left. Six more orbits. Six something. So after 6 orbits, we're going to change the periapsis back to slightly higher periapsis. Alright, so let's just wait. I'm not gonna let you wait. I'm gonna wait myself and then cut this part out, where I'm going to be approaching the station and getting a little bit closer to it. Excellent. Intersect at 14 kilometers. I should be able to have... There we go. My target is visible to me, and I can now start maneuvering and redocking with this target. So the way I usually do it, and I'm sure this is not the most effective ways, but what I do is I decrease the speed in relation to the target, which is what this is. Oh wow, it's going really, really fast here. So let's decrease the speed first. This will obviously waste some delta V, but nothing we can do about it. And then we're gonna start approaching it really, really, really slowly. So this will probably cost me about 200 delta V. And what you want to do next is... so let me just finish this first, and I'll show you what to do next. What you do want to do next is locate the... On the nav ball, locate the pink circle, this circle right here, and align your yellow circle with the pink circle. Sounds simple, right? What this does is basically it puts your velocity vector just like this. This means that I'm now heading toward my space station. Ish. Approximately. Kind of. At a speed of 14 meters per second. Now, this is obviously not perfect, so which is why I'm going to be doing this several times until I get to the space station within a few hundred meters of it, actually. And so now we're going to be realigning this with the pink circle. And that means that I need to be really, really careful. I need to really carefully, really gently try to do this continuously. So this is the reverse or inverse vector of velocity, and this is the you know, the forward vectors toward the station. So this has to be done several times. Since I do have quite a lot of delta V left, I shouldn't be worried too much about wasting fuel. But this is what I'm going to be doing now. So I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna once again skip until I'm within a few hundred meters of the station. Currently, I think the distance is 11 kilometers or something. I can't really see because 13 kilometers. But as soon as we get closer, I'll show you what to do next. So the station is coming to view, which is why my game suddenly slowed down again. And here we go. It's at 900 meters. I'm approaching a little bit too fast. Actually, I'm gonna slow down, and this will now be a few. Maybe 10 meters per second or so. So now this is where the hard part comes in. I'm going to engage the docking mode, which is right there on the left side here, and then use my awesome docking engines, which I have right here on the sides, to try to reconnect with the station. So this will take me quite a long time actually, probably, which is also why I need to save my game just in case I screw up big time. Still have some delta V left. I wasn't really sparing with this fuel right now, but normally I would be a little bit more sparing because in most missions I will have very, very little fuel left. Right now though, it's not a big problem. Alright, so slow down a little bit more. I'm gonna approach it at approximately 5 meters per second, and I'm also going to engage one of these Clampatron docking parts and control from that part specifically, and then docked at the station using the Clampatron. I'm gonna try to aim for the top if I can. If I can't, that's okay too, but top is where I want to be connecting. Now, there's actually 5 docking ports on the station, and all 5 are beautifully positioned and absolutely perfect. But the top one is the one I want to dock at because when I'm leaving Eve's orbit, when I'm actually escaping from Eve, it's very important to have as much balance as possible for my spaceship. So if I put this on top, it will be more balanced than if I put it on the side. Because this has some weight in it, so it's like having a little chunk on the side of your spaceship, so it's not perfect. Okay, so I'm approaching it really nicely. So this was a really good docking maneuvering. if I may say so, but I shouldn't be saying so. Humility is important. And so what I'm gonna do now is just wait for us to get a little bit closer so I can actually see my docking ports, and then I'm gonna select it as a target by right-clicking on it. Because right now I can't really... I see the big spaceship chunk thing, but I don't really see any docking ports specifically. And I'm gonna save my game just in case, because I don't want to start over from scratch. And this has been quite a interesting maneuvering path, actually. And actually, what I will be doing in the next video, I'm going to be doing this again, of course, but in the next video, we will need to do this again when we're returning from Ike. No, not Ike, sorry, Gilly. Gilly is the planet I'm thinking of. Because Gilly is just at the right distance from Eve for us to actually... for us to use just this part by itself to land on Gilly. I don't need to take the whole space station with me. I'm going to be using just this part. This space station is going to stay where it is right now. I'm just going to refuel, essentially, and then launch myself to Gilly. Which is really all I'm going to be doing. Okay, we're approaching it really nicely. This is actually a close to perfect approach. 1.9 meters per second, directly toward the station. And the only thing is, I don't really see it. I need to see it. I mean, I don't see the docking port. I mean, I see something here. I don't know if that's the docking port. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to it, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm definitely approaching from behind here. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to call it cheating, because it's not cheating at all, but I'm gonna be switching to my space station by clicking this button right here. And now, we're going to position it toward my little probe. Oh, I need to release this as well. I forgot to release this thing. Oops. That would have been awkward. Decouple node. No, come back. Come back here. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Clampatron I want. And let's position ourselves toward our probe, so that it doesn't actually have to fly around the whole station. And I need to just be very gentle with this. Very, very, very gentle. So I'm gonna aim it just like this. These engines need to go. They actually are almost expanded anyway, so I'm gonna be losing them very soon. But they're so heavy, this is just impossible to control. Even though there's actually quite a lot of guidance units right here, which provide some extra torque. But nevertheless, this is just too heavy. Too bulky. Alright, that's good, kind of ish. I can't really see anything though. The sun is going to be toward my face. But I think this is getting relatively good. Maybe a little bit more. And this is why I have this remote control unit here, so I can actually control the station in these situations and save myself some fuel as well. Because I'm just using the electrically powered torque to control, to rotate the station. This is not engine powered, it doesn't actually use any RCS either. So there we go, I think that's good. No, that's not the part I want this part. Excellent, so now this is a perfectly looking docking maneuver. And look at this, this is like something from Interstellar or something. So I don't know why it's blinking, I think there's a bug or something. Okay, so I'm definitely not approaching the station as perfect as I wanted to. I need to re-enable my engines this way. I'm actually moving away from it for some reason. Okay, so this is when I'm going to... Alright, perfect. I'm going to engage my docking maneuver ring thing and start using my docking engines to try to dock to it. And I think I'm going to be docking... I think this one here. Enable RCS and... Oh boy, too fast. Way too fast. Way too fast. Also, I can't see anything. It's too dark. These engines are way too powerful, I think. Ugh. No. Oh, I just ran out of electricity while trying to dock. So that was interesting. I almost had it, almost docked on my first try, but then electricity ran out. Well, that just means one thing. We need to wait. We need to wait for the sunlight to try to redock again. Oh, finally. Oh my god. Almost no electricity left again. Got on the second try. Alright, perfect. Excellent. We returned safely to our beautiful station. Let's actually wait for the light so you can actually see what's going on here. And then we're going to refuel our spaceship. Okay, there we go. So this is what it's going to look like. Except for these, of course, engines that we'll lose as soon as we leave Eve. But this is what our spaceship is going to look like when we're flying across the galaxy, specifically Kerbal Space solar system, and are trying to land on every single object. Now I'm trying to double check that I didn't destroy any part by accident while trying to dock here. It looks like everything is intact. Yep, everything is intact, everything is perfect. So now what we're gonna do is take some fuel. I can actually use these tanks probably. Nah. Doesn't actually matter what tank I use. So I'm gonna refuel this container here and get ready for my next trip. And next trip is of course Gilly. So we're gonna go to Gilly and land on Gilly, plant a flag, smile, take a selfie, and return back to this orbital station that's orbiting right here. Now, this is my refueling tank right here. This is where I'm getting the fuel from. There's enough fuel here for at least 10 landings, possibly more. Which is why I'm not particularly worried about wasting fuel from this part. So there's actually no more than 10, 12, at least 12 different landings. And there's not enough bodies to land on. We don't have 12 bodies in Kerbal Space system. Alright, anyway, so that's it. So completely refueled, ready to go again. So I think what I'm gonna do first, before I actually do land on Gilly, I need to make sure that my plane is aligned with it, and then I'm going to wait for it. I'm going to wait for Gilly to be in its periapsis right here. So we're gonna wait for it to orbit and reconnect with it when it's right here, because this will require a lot less delta V than basically blasting all our way to its apoapsis. It's more efficient to reconnect, to basically rendezvous with it right here, and then we're going to return to Eve right afterwards. So this will be in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this part. This was Escape from Eve and redocking, the first redocking out of many. Thank you for watching, please subscribe, and game you later. Bye bye.